Now, is this you? Hitting the ball great on the driving range, you feel in control, you're excited to get out on the golf course, and when you do, you cannot play golf to save your life. You feel like all that time is just wasted. Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to practice to get your practice improvement onto the golf course properly. So your practice won't be lying to you anymore like it is. So if you're hitting the ball great on the range, practicing just like this will get you hitting the ball great on the golf course when it matters, just like this, and you can actually start enjoying your rounds of golf again. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so each practice session should contain 3 compartments. Number 1 is block practice. So this is our technique practice. This is what so many amateur golfers get completely wrong, because you can see what am I doing here. I am using a little training aid, so a ball training aid. What that's doing, that's just keeping the structure of my arms. As soon as I'm starting to warm up, I go straight into my 8-iron, little half swings to make sure my right arm is staying nicely in front of me as I'm turning my body and getting nice rotation going through the golf ball. So this training aid really gives me some great feedback. So that's any type of training aid that will be specific to your golf swing, you should absolutely be using. So that's where if you're not got any feedback, you're not going to improve. So many amateurs are out there on the range, literally just swinging with swing thoughts and expecting that to make a swing change, where they might time a good one, they might see a great flight and they think, oh, that thought was good. But ultimately, it's lying to them. It's not. So that's where we can even dive in even deeper to things like here, like with the hack motion. So with a hack motion, I'm doing a little drill here called the transition drill. And what it's doing, it's getting me into a half swing, getting me to get my pressure onto my left side, which is something that I struggle with, and then turning through with my body, which is one of the things I was doing with the ball training aid, and that naturally keeps my wrist angle. So it measures my wrist angle, and if I'm not turning through like the one I did before that, it will give me, of course, a bad reading going through the shot. My wrist would extend and I could easily pull the shot from there. So like we can see here, I'm just getting into halfway back and then getting to my left side and turning. This little sawn off follow through, and you can see a nice straight ball flight. So what's happening here though, I am giving myself, of course, feedback through this device. And if you want one of these, hack motion, there is a link down in description. You need feedback with your block practice, whether it's drills, training aids, or devices like this, absolutely essential. If you do not have feedback, you will not improve your technique. It is as simple as that. So make sure you know exactly what you're doing in your swing. Loads of videos on my channel, lessons as well that you can get to know what you're doing. And as we go up the clubs, our tendencies might change a little bit. So I'm just doing a stick in the belt loops drill. Now I've got out my 6-iron, just to help me get a nice deep turn, which sometimes I won't get that in my backswing. So it's just, again, feedback mechanism to get there and keep my body turning in the downswing, which keeps the club in front of the stick so I don't clatter into it. So again, I've got feedback on every single shot I'm hitting here on my technique. I'm not using my conscious brain because that will lie to me. See there with that little slip there? Not wearing golf shoes here, and it tells, yeah, that ball didn't go too good. So now I'm moving up the clubs. Now I've got a 4-iron. So for me, with my longer irons, ultimately I'll still do that stick drill, but here I was just more opting to do what I call the ball forward drill, which ultimately, if I'm getting a good turn, and then this ball forward drill will keep me to where I'll be getting on that left side, not hanging back and turning through. So the ball is at the front of the stance, club's out the middle. I'm just trying to then hit the ball solidly with a good turn in the backswing. And that keeps me then to make contact, shift nicely, keep the upper body turning, all the nice stuff I like to see. So every single shot here is done with a drill. I don't want to see people when they're practicing to do anything else when they're working on their technique, which is block practice. You should be working on the drill on every single shot. Again, like we see here, ball forward drill, 4-iron. That one's not the best to swing, so you've got to put some bad swings on it. Absolutely. So now I've moved up to my 3-wood. My 3-wood, I really like doing the stick in the belt loops drill because it really gives me a better feel like no other with that. I do the ball forward drill as well with my 3-wood, but again, it's just knowing what drills are applicable to your golf swing, and then you'll know when you move up the clubs or move down the clubs, what ones you like the best with those certain ones. Especially with my woods, I can have literally my faults amplify like every golfer on the planet. So this one really keeps me into a good spot, keeps the club out in front, keeps me turning, and to where I can hit these little type fades on every single shot. But again, what am I doing? I'm practicing with feedback on every one. Some of them might fade more than I want, but that's a good thing for me to see as I'm going through there. So now, driver, same thing. What I'll be doing here, I'll actually be using a little bit lower of a tee than normal. Stops my body from having too much side bend in the downswing, which is another fault for me that amplifies the more the clubs go up. But still the same thing there with a stick, with the 3-wood, getting a good turn, keeping the club out in front of me. I do not want to get trapped and stuck behind my driver. So when I do this drill, it gives me a little bit more fade than normal, but that's to be expected with a drill. It's also knowing ball flight wise what's going to happen to your shot when you're doing these drills. So do your block practice. Okay, so second part of your practice that every golfer should do if you actually want to improve on the golf course, and that is randomized yardage practice with your scoring clubs. You can even do this with your long clubs too. So I've just got a random number generator. I've just set in there from 40 yards all the way up to around 140, 150, so wedges and short irons. And I'm pressing it on each shot, which has given me a different random yardage, and I have to hit it around that yardage, preferably on the yardage. So I'll be changing clubs as I go. And absolutely, this is where you need something to ultimately measure your yardage. So here at top tracer range, it's really easy. And when I go and practice at tee to green for a TrackMan facility, even better from there, because you can go into the performance center on a TrackMan, or any launch monitor has something similar where it will give you randomized yardages and randomized situations. Super important. So now the third thing we need to do in our practice, and that is the tee shot full routine game. So this is our pressure game. So what we got a makeshift narrow fairway, as we can see there with the targets in front of me. We have 5 balls, and ultimately what we want to do, we want to hit all those 5 balls in that target, hopefully, but we do it with our most common off the tee clubs. So for me, that's hybrid, 3-wood, and driver. For some of you, it might be a 4-iron, which would have been a very valid option for me as well, or even a 5-iron. But whatever clubs you're going to hit most commonly. So I am starting off with a hybrid here. So absolutely, like we do, I've got 5 balls. I've got to try and hit them in that very narrow fairway. And we've got to go through our full routine every single time, because our routine is what stays consistent throughout our rounds of golf. We know that our swing is going to, change through shot to shot, micro change, and that's going to change what happens to the ball. But we want that routine to be constant every time. This is what no one really practices, and that's why a lot of players, in all honesty, suck when they get out on the golf course, because they don't practice their routine. You want your mind to be nice and in that good, comfortable place when you're out there, and that is through a routine. And you can see there straight away what happens. I missed that fairway. I pulled it left. So that's one thing important to note as well. When you are missing the fairway, note what side you're doing. It probably for most golfers will be more on one side. And if it's on both sides, God help you. You need some lessons. I think we all do every now and again. Again, there is a link in the description if you're playing army golf out there and you want to tighten up your dispersion for online lessons. So you can see there, this one, I believe that I might have slightly missed it. Yep. Again, it's a really tight fairway. We're trying to make this game harder than practice. We really want to make it difficult. So when we we want to make this harder than on the golf course, is what I meant to say there. We want our practice to always be a little bit more difficult. So when we get out on the golf course and we see this big wide fairway, we're thinking, oh, great. I've just been practicing into an extremely narrow fairway. So there we go. Finally hit one. Now I've got, I believe, one more because I've missed 2 already. So full routine. And this is actually fairly typical for me. Generally, even though this should be a safety club, I can sometimes not get a good of turn as I'd like in the backswing, like what we've just worked on before, and sometimes hang back a little bit too much with these clubs, which could make me lose control of my dispersion. Now, it's not horrendously offline, but again, 3 out of 5 for a hybrid needs to be worked on. So that's where we're actually going to get into after this. We need to practice a little bit block practice-wise on our result from this. So practice a little bit on technique after. So now I've got 3-wood, same thing, target's the same. So again, if we were on something like a TrackMan, on the Performance Center, there will be a driving challenge as well, which you can use different clubs on, which is great. But of course, we don't necessarily need it. And this one, I just slightly leak out towards the right. So I'm starting off 0 out of 5. So again, noting your tendencies with hybrid, it was more left. So knowing that is super important for the golf course. And here what we're going to see with my 3-wood, it's more out towards the right. Super important for the golf course as well. Now, it's not going hugely right. These ones just slightly missed the fairway. But again, we're making our target quite nice and narrow. So again, lovely strike on it. Just drifted a little bit right. So a bit of a pain, but there we go. Now again, this is something that I notice myself in competition, that I generally don't hit these clubs as straight as I would hit driver. Where I think all of us, we have a little bit of misconception sometimes that our driver has to be more wayward than our hybrid or our 3-wood. But quite often, that's not the case for a lot of players. You can see there, make a couple little adjustments technically in what I'm thinking for me there is actually just trying to get myself feeling like I'm hitting a punch shot off a normal ball position. The reason why I was missing them, both with hybrid and with 3-wood there, not enough turn in the backswing, but more than anything, the upper body hanging back in a downswing, not getting enough turn, losing control of face. So for these next couple, I'm really focusing on feeling like I'm hitting a punch shot. So really, again, very ball flight orientated in a feel, but it helped clean it up really nicely for me. So that's 2 in a row that were straight as an arrow. So that, again, that needs to go in the database of your brain and think, okay, that feel immediately gave me a good result. So when I'm out on a, let's say, golf course, that's exactly what I need to be thinking and feeling. That's why our practice sessions should give us our thoughts and our feels for the golf course. But the only way we can know that properly is by doing pressure games. So here we go with driver. So same thing, going through the routine. Now driver there, a little bit of a lower tee. Again, I'm trying to hit this fairway. That's really narrow. So for me, ultimately, I'm going to want to start it slightly left and peel it back. I fade everything with driver, which I think most golfers do, but we want to hit that shot shape all the time. Again, if you were, let's say someone had a gun to your head and say, you've got to hit this fairway or I'm going to shoot you, what are you going to do? You're going to hit that shot you know you can hit. If it's someone who hits a big slice, well, they're going to think, gee, I'm just going to aim way left and I'm going to sling one onto the fairway. That's going to absolutely get me to hit the fairway. That's what you should be doing. So, again, you don't play with a huge amount of shape. You want to control that. But through a pressure game here, it teaches us exactly what we need to be doing in our thoughts to translate onto the golf course. Random hitting balls all the time, you've not created the right environment to be able to stress test certain thoughts and feelings in your golf swing. This is where it happens. Again, it's not as beneficial as being out on the golf course, of course, but it still helps us a ton. So what I'm learning from there, I mean, this ball couldn't even see, but it started literally on my body and had a little cut round. I think I remember that one was actually a slight neck shot. So it started left, came back into the fairway. So lucky, you just have to believe me on that one. So as we can see here already, I'm nailing through it with driver. 3 out of 5, 3 balls down. So what does this tell me? I've got to hit driver more on the golf course if I want to hit a lot of fairways. There we go, 4 out of 5. And now we've got one more. So this is where if you're on that good trend, you're going to feel nervous on this last one. So I wanted to get a good 5 out of 5. So I felt pretty nervous on this. That's good. You want to feel nervous. You want to create games on the driving range that make you feel nervous like you do on the golf course. Still won't really remotely kind of resemble the golf course all too much, but it will give you a similar feeling that you can draw back on and think, okay, this feel helped me with a good result. So that one, slightly funky swing, but it faded back again into the fairway. So this game has ultimately served its purpose, shown me what I need to work on, and showed me what I need to do to successfully hit the fairway more, which is hit more drivers. Okay, so now we've done that good test, we can call it that, tee shot pressure game. From those results that we've got, we want to do a last minute little bit of block practice for the rest of the golf balls that we've got. So it doesn't really need to be a specific number of golf balls. On any of this, you don't need to hit a specific amount of golf balls. It's just dividing these sections up, again, for the time you've got. So what I'm doing here, making sure I'm still getting that good turn, but I'm really trying to keep that club in front of me and really making sure I'm getting that punch shot feel with both hybrid and 3-wood. So I am hitting more balls than you're seeing here, but again, the amount of balls is ultimately irrelevant. We just want to take what we've got there into some little bit of technique practice afterwards, after we've seen our results. Okay, so same thing again, 3-wood was the same kind of result as hybrid, even though the ball direction was opposite, the fault was the same. So same type of feels there, really trying to get that punch shot feel after having a good full turn. Now, this is a little bit of fun just at the end, but still applicable for technique-wise. I'm just got a handful of balls left. I just want to hit a couple kind of stingery shots. So especially here where I live in Scotland, that's always a good thing to have. So for me, it really helps me with my technique as well, and it's fun. So practice like this, guys, and you are actually going to be able to bring your practice and your quality of your practice onto the golf course and play better.